More with Diane Hamilton of BinaryFormations talking about Under My Roof. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by 1Password Extended Access Management. It is security for the way we work today. Find out more at onepassword.com/MacVoices. You also mentioned that you have some machine learning components. Can you elaborate a little on what that has brought to Under My Roof?
So it's really very minimal right now. When this all first came out, when ML became available, we did implement object recognition. So when you're it's another way to build out your inventory. If you take out your phone in Under My Roof and bring up the camera in Under My Roof, we have a machine learning module and that will pick up devices or objects, identify objects. So it's good at getting a bookcase or a TV or things like that. So it'll fill in the name automatically and recognize that. Now we do have plans now that technology is improving in that area. We will expand on that.
I can see a lot of places, depending on how well it can work, but it seems like everything is moving so fast that could greatly streamline the ability to go through your house. And
Right.
even if you just got a rough inventory to start with,
Yes.
that would be advantageous.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're never going to be able to point it at a lazy boy and say, okay, this is, a 1985 lazy boy with corduroy coverings or whatever.
Right.
But, it's going to let you know that there was a chair there, and maybe it can even give you a few hints about what kind of chair it is.
Yes, and those are things that, can be very helpful. And we do a little bit of that with the room scan and with the I forget what we called it. Being able to just take your phone and take pictures one after the other and after the other to build out your inventory. It's very, very quick entry mode is what we call it. So you just take out your phone, snap, enter a name, move on to the next one, snap, enter a name. That's all you need. With the machine learning that we have implemented, if it knows what it is, it's going to fill in the name for you.
Diane, as we all know, as software gets more sophisticated and useful, the learning curve goes up.
Yes.
So you were talking about some of the documentation you provide. Is the documentation address all of these things, or do you have training videos or anything like that to help people get up to speed and make the full use out of this?
Yes and yes.
That's great.
Yes.
That's what I want to hear.
We have a full user's guide, very detailed. And you're right, the technology is it's going so fast. And when you start using all of that and adding new features, and Under My Roof is a robust product. It can help in so many different areas, but that means there's so many, there's downsides of that too, because then, you got to figure out which area is meet your needs first, and then move on to the other areas. But yes, a user guide. We have video tutorials. We do as we add features. That is part of it. We have in the app. We have a quick start guide that kind of takes you through the navigation. We're really going to work on a better job. There's always things to improve. A better job with new users coming into the app. When we first released Under My Roof, we were really making sure that our current home inventory customers could easily upgrade to it. And so the onboarding process was really geared to those that were familiar with an app like this. And so on our roadmap, the very important high priority is to now take that and really break that down and do a better job of bringing people into the app and finding what is it that is going to be most useful. What what's your goal, and what are your problems, and let's help you fast and get that. So yes, we have the material. It's always evolving. In fact, right before our call, I was doing recordings for a new video. So for a
Oh,
new feature.
so you're the star of the videos.
I do the voiceovers. Yeah.
You don't sound like you're happy about it.
Well, some are better than others, but you do what you have to do as an indie.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Let's talk a little about the pricing, as to
Yes.
how you structure your pricing model.
Yeah, so this was a real struggle. I'm sure a lot of other independents like us have struggled with pricing. And we went from a one-time cost for home inventory, lifetime, uh, and we knew we couldn't do that again because the industry has just changed. Technology has changed. Everything has changed, and you can't survive by without a regular revenue. It's just not possible. So we knew we would have to go subscription, or if the Apple, let's say, the Apple gods came through, they would implement upgrade process or upgrade pricing. That would have been what we preferred at the time back in 2021. But we went subscription, and we're very hesitant at first, and we're very leery about the pushback we would get from our longtime customers, and we were wrong. We were pleasantly surprised. We got some pushback, but it was nothing like we had expected. And we went subscription, and it is the right decision. And I am 100% convinced that productivity software, you can't survive with one-time cost as a developer. It's continually changing. You have subscriptions that you're paying out for services you're using, as far as like our data lookup. We have different sources for when you scan a barcode to find that data and put that data through their API into Under My Roof. So that costs. So we have ongoing costs like that. But we started at $19.99 a year. We're at $29.99 a year now. Seems to be we get some feedback that it's too low, believe it or not, but that's where we're comfortable right now. And we want to be at a pricing point where it's still feasible for your everyday household to afford, and it's feasible for us to stay in business.
Okay, I'm always fascinated by the different pricing models that different organizations come up with.
Mhm.
So, but with yours, and especially the way you sound like you've developed it, that it becomes, instead of just okay, I'm going to do a one-time home inventory, and okay,
Yes.
check that off the list, and it's done. And maybe I'll revisit it in a couple of
Right.
years. This
Right.
sounds like a living tool that actually
It is.
I can use on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
This edition of MacVoices is supported by 1Password Extended Access Management. It is security for the way we work today. Find out more at onepassword.com/MacVoices. Traditional IAM and MDM solutions were great in their day. They helped your IT department keep track of things and have some control over who was using what. But time marches on. In today's world, you need something more modern that can integrate with Okta and Microsoft Entra, and soon for Google Workspace, that can ensure that every user credential is strong and protected, every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. You need 1Password Extended Access Management. No more unmanaged devices, no more shadow IT apps, no more non-employee identities. Just smooth security sailing in the rough seas of today's increasingly challenging security environment, thanks to a company you know has security in its DNA. Check it out at onepassword.com/MacVoices. That's onepassword.com/MacVoices to learn everything you need to know about 1Password Extended Access Management. Thanks to 1Password Extended Access Management for supporting MacVoices. So let's just say, for the fun of it, that I buy a subscription from you for a year. And then at the end of the year, I've taken my home inventory, but I'm not really haven't gotten into using the other features. What happens to Under My Roof at that point? Do I still have access to my information, or does the app just stop functioning because I'm not able to log in? How are you handling that part of it? Again, because I'm thinking about the data is mine, and I want to make sure that I either have access to it or that nobody has access to it.
Right. So I want to respond with two points. One, you will still have access to your data. If you do not renew, if you at any time decide to cancel, you still have access to your data. What you won't be able to do is add any more data. No more items. Right. So if you resubscribe again, you're all set. You can go ahead and add more. You mentioned logging in, because I didn't hit that when you asked about privacy, and it's a really key differentiator with Under My Roof, and that is we don't have a sign-in. There is no ID specific to Under My Roof. We don't collect email. We don't ask for any credentials. It's all based on your iCloud ID. So the ID you're logged into on your device is the ID that's used for your inventory. It has nothing to do with the app itself. It's your iCloud account. So no login, no information collected, nothing. We have a opt-in newsletter if you supply your email address, which we send out maybe 2 a year, tops 3, but there is no email associated with your account. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And thank you for the answer, because that I do get concerned when I see services that lock me out, and they say, well, just resubscribe and you'll get access to everything again. And it's like, okay, that's good. But on the other hand, it means somehow you're holding my data. And that's
right.
I'd almost rather have you erase it and tell me you're going to have to recreate everything, or send me a copy of my data and now it's my responsibility to hold it securely, as opposed to someone else doing it.
Yeah. So again, we don't have your data. We have no access to your data. Your data is stored in iCloud. So if you want to erase your data, you can go to your device's iCloud settings and go to manage your storage, and you will see other apps that use CloudKit storage in there, and you can erase your data from there if you ever want to erase your data. We don't have access. We don't want access. But we're not going to hold you hostage. If you don't renew, that's your data. You can still open the app.
See, it's attitudes like this that I wish more developers had or understood, that and let their products stand on their strengths, and let their
Exactly.
users, let their users decide that this is a company that not only is putting out great software but also cares about me as a user and how I see things. And I commend you for every answer you've given, because it sounds like you're doing what I would hope someone that's producing your kind of software would do for me as a potential user.
Absolutely. It's just core to who we are and to the business that we want to run. And I think the app can stand on its own. If it's, it can provide plenty of value. It's not a fit for everybody, though. So who am I to say, you have to stick with this? No.
Again, that's the attitude I would love to see more developers have. Not every developer has that attitude, and in indies or companies, both. So, we got off on software philosophy there for a second, but
It's important, our ultimate goal. It's important.
Yeah. I should have asked this question, and because it seems obvious to me since we're talking on MacVoices, but this is just iPad, iPhone, Mac. You do not have Windows versions, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good for you. Sorry, I'm biased.
We want to. We've been asked. We even got contacted by Microsoft at some point years ago. We know Apple devices. This is our expertise. Could we learn that? Could we do that from Microsoft? Kevin used to develop for Windows, so he can. I used to years ago use Windows, but when we got married, that was part of our nuptials. I had to switch to the Apple ecosystem, but we're a two-person team. We can barely, there's so much going on right now. We would, that would mean funding and growing with different resources, and it's just not something that is our goal. We've worked for enterprise companies for years. This is we kind of like it small.
Yep, there's a lot to be said for being your own boss. There's no question about it, and you're going to reap the rewards from your users by keeping the attitudes and policies that you have. I think it's always interesting when someone says we hear from our users and they aren't sure we're charging them enough. I think that says
Sometimes,
a lot about you and about the users too. Both, they recognize the value of what you provide.
Mm-hmm.
The website where folks can go to learn more about all of this.
You can go to undermyroof.app. There'll be links to the tutorials, to support, some videos, more information, and the App Store. The App Store descriptions are full of details and info. With all the destruction and the things that are going on with the hurricanes, it is so difficult to see. Regardless of whether or not you have documentation before something happens, it's never too late. Even after going and taking getting things down, you have information in many different places. Bringing that together and doing an inventory as you remember things is better than nothing. And our goal is to reach more people so that they can recover faster. And heaven forbid, should it happen again, it's, they're prepared.
I agree completely with that. And at the risk of trying to find a silver lining in a really ugly dark cloud, if you are out there having to rebuild and restart, it might be a great time to start to develop something like this, not just for the insurance part, but just for your own organization. And that's something that the way Diane has described her product, again, we talk about the home inventory the way it was, but this is much more of a tool for you to organize that. And I mean, just the note-taking aspects of it about what you're going through has got to be advantageous, as opposed to just finding one of your notes apps and trying to figure out, now, where did I put that? And what? Right. This would be a way to organize it all. So, no, you are absolutely right. That's a great point.
It really is. And, I have a sister who's building a house, her and her husband, from scratch, just the two of them. And she uses the app every day as they go, with pictures and details and documents. And it really is beneficial. And you can use it as much as you want or as little as you want, but there is great value just in day-to-day organization.
I hadn't thought about this, but I wish I'd had something this sophisticated when I bought my home, because that's another changing point in your life. It would be great to have all that. Not only the real estate paperwork, but just, okay, so I'm moving into this house and I want to have some of the fixtures changed. I need to have this carpet pulled up and that room painted. And I mean, it becomes you become a small general contractor for yourself, and without any of the tools that are necessary for it. So, here's one for you in your own way.
Right.
I like it. It's great being able to reconnect after all this time. I'm a little embarrassed that we haven't talked sooner, but I'm glad we are now, and sharing some of this information.
Me too. I'm so happy to be here and sharing, and any way we can help.
Well, anytime you have other announcements or major changes or updates, please let me know. I'd love to have you back, because I feel like this is such a great tool that so many people would benefit from for so many different reasons.
I agree. And I would love to come back. And I thank you.
You're more than welcome. I will look forward to hearing from you when the time is right.
Yes, of course.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. I hope maybe we've given you something to think about. You might have seen this app go by or had somebody describe it, but I've learned a lot about what it could do for me. I've got to relook at it, because even though I've not suffered in the hurricanes and tornadoes and all, and even though I'm not buying a house, I could probably use a little help organizing. I could use a lot of help organizing. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.